Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now, since I have explored, and even before I have explored Necropolis, obviously I got immense amount of calls to release a completion and easy path guide and then also consecutively afterwards exploration guide. And that is what we're going to start working on. However, obviously this content's still fresh. I'm not 100% knowledgeable in the matchups and things like that. Therefore, I will need help from you guys to give me your input as well. But I'm going to do the best I can to explain what I did, what I recommend doing, what I recommend not doing, and obviously my own experience, plus suggestions or other ideas that could work. And I'm going to present it in a format that you can use yourself as well, because I will make this spreadsheet available to you guys, and effectively I will make a new tab for every path that will ultimately come together not just as a completion guide, also as an exploration guide. Now, huge thank you to whoever, Charles Wong, put together the map for us. Here we can see the path rewards and every champion on the paths themselves. And yeah, so easiest path, I think, is path 1, the one that starts with Titania. I do think that effectively as easy of a path is path 2, with the condition that you have Shuri. If you do have a highly ranked up Shuri, then I think this path 2 is just as easy, if not even easier, basically. You're going to struggle a bit more ramping up Aegon on Mr. Fantastic, but it's still perfectly doable. And then Shuri takes down Namor, Tuma, Captain Britain, Wiccan, and Psycho Man. So, and the rest of it can be just Aegon. Ultimately, also, let's get Elephant out of the way. Do I think Aegon is the cheapest option? No. Aegon is the fastest and least skill required option. That is who I used because I wanted to be done fast. I wasn't too concerned about the revive count. If I wanted to do it cheaper and slower, I would 100% focus on champions like Kate Bishop, Shuri, and Baron Zemo. Those guys and a few others will ultimately get it done with less resources than Aegon does. Aegon does the paths faster, and also you have less to plan for, because in the entire Necropolis there are about 5 fights that Aegon can't really do. Well, there are some fights where he's not ideal for, obviously, but there are only about 4 or 5 fights where you definitely need somebody else for. And that's it. It's going to be more costly. But again, using Aegon is less skill intensive. So if you're worried about your skill level, Aegon is going to be the answer. And if you're worried about how long actually this run takes, it is faster with Aegon. That's without a doubt. You can use Zemo, you can use Kate, you can use Shuri, and you're probably going to take close to double the amount of time that Aegon does in there. Because once you ramp Aegon up, you can just nuke in and you'll get through them fast. In fact, again, absolutely no shame to admit it, when I was doing my Path 5 and 6 run, I was absolutely knackered, I hadn't slept, and I just bashed in Aegon without much consideration, and I still, got down pretty much 20, 25%, 30% of opponents' health on almost all the fights with like each individual revive, playing completely carelessly. So Aegon's kind of like the dumb, least skilled nuke type of option. You basically brute force the champion. If you're concerned about the resources, the amount of revives it takes, and you're confident in your skill level, then I definitely recommend Baron Zemos and Kate Bishops and teams like that. That said, let's go over the fights. So I'm going to go over with what I used. And here we can see that in Titania, I ramped up Aegon. With ramping up Aegon in my team, I also had Proxima, so that helped me a lot because I basically got guaranteed combo in almost every revive because I played very carefully. When I lost my combo shield from Proxima, that, eventually I just got level 3, got in the last bits of combo that I could, and I quit out. It was like very safe, very easy way how to get guaranteed combos. And Proxima Synergy also gives you 25% Fury potency increase, which helps you damage-wise throughout the rest of the path. So if you only can bring in one support piece to Aegon, then my personal recommendation is Proxima. Because it just makes the whole ramp-up process a lot less painful and still contributes to your damage later on. Right. Moving on then, for Arcus, I use Chavez. It's effectively like a one revive fight with Chavez if you don't mess up. Once he goes into second enrage, You do tick down quite fast, but you can make that fight last very, very, very long. Omega Sentinel was very easy, straightforward with Aegon. Airwalker is again one revive fight for rank 2 Chavez. Captain Britain, Captain Britain, Wiccan, and Psychoman are all three perfect Shuri fights. You can either solo them or close to solo them with a rank 2 Shuri. So if you have like a 6-star Shuri, it's probably going to take, like 2 revives or something. But they are very doable, and Shuri is perfect counter for all of those fights for sure. In fact, entire left side, entire path 1, 2, 3, because of these 3 fights and the fact that you have to take Dragonman later on, which Shuri can also solo, she's one of the MVPs, at least for me, for the entire run. Definitely recommend. You can brute force Aegon through every single fight on this path. That is super important to understand. If you don't have any other pieces and you just want to get Necropolis done, you can brute force Aegon, in which case, just bring in a full-on synergy team for Aegon with like Odins and Heimdalls and Proximus and stuff like that. And you can absolutely brute force this entire thing with Aegon as well in like 60 revives or something like that. My overall estimation, for people ask how many revives are safe for like a rank 4 medium skilled Aegon run, I'd say if you have 100 revives, you should be perfectly fine. Right. So, Guardian, this entire section 2, where we have Guardian, Valkyrie, and Red Guardian, it's, again, super easy for Aegon. You completely ignore the trap node here, and you have nothing to worry about. Sam Wilson and Captain America Infinity War are also perfect Aegon fights. And against Dragonman. Against Dragonman, reality, what many people didn't realize, you can use any champion, because it is super easy to switch off Dragonman's power gain with your Pacify Mastery. As in, with Pacify Mastery maxed out, whilst opponents are stunned, they have 30% reduced ability accuracy. What you need to do is you need to switch off his power gain by parrying him or letting him eat it up with any of the special attacks. And then, just as the power gain would come back, just parry stun him. On average, in like 1 out of 3 or 4 stuns, you can switch off Dragonman's power gain completely for the rest of the fight, and you're golden. If you use somebody like Shuri, however, then I recommend not doing that, because the fact that Dragonman's going to be gaining extra power and be throwing special attacks a lot will help you extend the enrage timers, and therefore allow Shuri actually to do a lot more damage and effectively solo this fight. I did actually manage to get a proper solo with Shuri against Dragonman as well. So that's just a little side note over there. Against Valkyrie fight, the only side note is that you do want to block once every 30 to 50 seconds, play aggressively and push her to level 2s as much as possible, because while she has Fury active, her passive pierce will be paused. When passive pierce is paused, the fight is basically normal. So just push her to level 2s. And against Grandmaster, definitely recommend bringing in somebody that is reverse control immune. Most popular options here would be either Wiccan, because Wiccan can do some of the path fights, or I actually just personally brought in Juggernaut, and whenever I got Grandmaster down to 1%, it was super easy to enter with Juggernaut and effectively kill him immediately with Juggernaut without using any extra revives. So that is what I used. Here are some of the champion suggestions. Obviously, here is what I want you guys to help me out the most, because I want you guys to let me know which champions, can do these specific fights very well in like 1 or 2 revives. That would be perfectly acceptable. I'll try to add and update this as we go along. Therefore, input and feedback from you is also extremely valuable. As I only have my own personal experience, plus whatever I have heard in chats and streams and stuff like that. But the more people put their heads together, the better guide this can turn out to be, once you actually get to use it, or some other people get to use it a couple of weeks from now or a week from now, whenever somebody's going to be doing Necropolis. And this is the team that I used, 5 team slots. I want to delete this. So I'm going to take this off, because this place is meant for you to plan your run, plan your team. So just like with Grandmaster's Gauntlet guides, the entire point here is find a champion, find a counter that you plan on using, write the name here appropriately, because that is the entire point of these guides in Necropolis. helping you plan these things out the best you can. So use these team slots to find the 5 champions that you bring in, and make sure that right next to each opponent you have a suitable and solid counter, right? And in that case, it's going to be easier for you to make sure that you haven't overlooked anything, that you have somebody who does these matchups perfectly fine. And yeah, that's what I recommend. So now I have done the initial part of this. As I said, I will be carefully listening to feedback. I will be bringing up this guide in some of my next streams. I'm going to be asking some of the most skilled and knowledgeable players to weigh in as they are doing their own runs. Whoever didn't brute force it with Aegon, because there's still a ton of knowledge to be gained. There's still a ton of things and matchups to be discovered. Like I have been hearing that Wong does incredibly well against some specific fights. I have been hearing good things about Absorbing Man. Obviously, Zemo and Kate overall are still like the best options when it comes to resource saving wise, I would say. You can definitely do the cheapest runs with them. Again, just to be clear, Aegon is not the cheapest option for Abyss. Aegon is the lazy fast option for Abyss. The best champions are Shuri, Zemo, Kate. Take longer. They could be more tedious perhaps, but that will be more resource cost effective. Your question is, what is more important to you? Getting through the entire experience of Abyss quicker, and it being easier, as in requiring less skill once you actually ramp up, or doing it cheaper and fighting through it harder. Also, some side notes for Aegon. Rank 4 Aegon is perfectly fine. I rank 5 mine. After going through it all, I don't regret it, because obviously I pushed the exploration quickly. I didn't really feel the need to ascend my Aegon. Rank 5 did it just fine. Still got some solos in and stuff like that. I think rank 4 Aegon, boost up, use proper hardcore aggressive mastery setup. You don't need willpower, put on the recall mastery, stuff like that. You can do just fine. Rank 4 Aegon will be A-okay. I've heard stories even 5-star Aegon being used in some completion runs. Don't necessarily recommend going in with a 5-star ascended Aegon, but if you have a 6-star rank 4 Aegon, I think you're perfectly fine. Put on some boosts, put on recall masteries. You're going to get those fights down quickly enough. And yeah, we are here. Again, for easy path, if push comes to shove and you just want to get it done, you can brute force it all with Aegon. Keep that in mind. Right. Let me know if you guys have any questions, suggestions, things to add here. One final note I will say though, if you are using like an Aegon and Shuri, because those are like the 2 core champions that are needed for, you know, a very quick and effective run here. It's basically Aegon and a Shuri. Then you do want to be changing masteries. It is worth putting on recall masteries when you use Aegon, and then taking them off when you use Shuri, especially considering that 3 of the Shuri fights are all in a row. So you can take those recall masteries off, do the 3 fights with Shuri, put them back on, and then, you know, carry on further. Yes. So, that is my experience. This is the easy path completion guide, such as I can present it to you right now. And with your input, we are gonna further the details here, champion suggestions. Do let me know who do you use, how did it go for you, and stuff like that. And we're gonna make this guide even better with your help, hopefully. And that is it for now. As I said, I do plan on uploading continuation of this for path number 2, path number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Together, in between me and you, we are gonna make a solid exploration guide, hopefully. If you have any other constructive feedback in terms of what format, what other things you would like to see added on the sheet, stuff like that, I'm all ears, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about